If I could describe the Get My Life tour in one word, it would be vulnerability. Showing up for yourself is so important. Welcome to the Get My Life tour. I'm your host, Lydia T. Blanco. Hey y'all, and welcome to the Get My Life tour. It is me, your host, Lydia T. Blanco, and as always, I am excited that you decided to show up for yourself. Look, there is so much. Oh my goodness. There is so much going on in the world with COVID-19, sheltering in place, isolation, creativity, going digital, anything and all things in between. There is just a lot going on. So, because there is so much going on, I strongly feel the need to be succinct this stop of the tour because I too am consumed with a number of things around me, but I am remembering and practicing not to be anxious about anything. If you're anything like the rest of the world, you're probably on social media right now, and you've probably seen a million messages about what it is that you should be doing with your time right now. You know, there are so many CEOs, influencers, small business owners, creators, creatives, and just people in general who are using their wealth of knowledge and expertise to share free resources with people, digitally while we're all sheltered in place. And I think that is great. I too will be going live and sharing more information, when I'm not writing, building my own, independent story platform, through the Get My Life tour and Sincere Visions. But I really want to take a step back because it is so important to be stewards of our time and energy. So with that in mind, on this stop of the Get My Life tour, we're going to talk about, yes, it's time. Now what? Okay, so I really want to start off by saying that I do believe that this health crisis is, somewhat timely, right? There's a time and order to everything. So I do believe that this moment, or a part of this moment, is, for us to practice being prepared as well as being still and tap into the things that are really important. I too have been reprioritizing, my values and just the way that I do things. But the but to that is that it is so important for us to take our time with as much time as we have on our hands, some more than others, right? I'm working remotely, waking up extremely early so that I can, be on at the same time as the rest of the digital team in New York because I'm on the West Coast. And then, I want to dedicate time to being great and building my own brand, spending time with my family, making sure that oatmeal is good and connecting with my friends who, are around the world. And I have had to take a step back because we don't have as much time as we think we have. I've seen a lot of messages online, helping, that aim to be helpful, rather yet, in assisting people with time management, encouraging people to be creative. But I think that there are two sides of that, right? This national moment most definitely has pushed people into a more creative space. We've seen people go digital or amp up their digital efforts, which is great. But then there are people who may be a little bit intimidated with a great idea. And that's who I want to talk to today. People who may feel like an underdog during this time because they may not have been inspired or they're not motivated the same way or by the same things that others are motivated by, especially as they think about what it is that they want to share. Now, you may have something unique, creative, dope, and set apart that you want to share, but you may just be like, I'm not sure. You're probably worried about, oversaturation or sounding redundant or having an idea or a service or a product that's too similar, or not even that's too similar, right? But is similar to what someone else is offering. I still believe that it is time, and I want to encourage you to share what that is. But I also want to share some tips with you on how to just put your best digital foot forward and go for it. Because, the now what of this part is action, right? It's a question, but it also is to be followed by action. So it's time. Now what? First things first, take some time to think about what it is you want to share and what your why is for sharing. I think a lot of people have gone to the drawing table and they're like, okay, look, I'm just about to, go from 0 to 100. I'll go from 50 to 100 or 100 to 1,000, right? And that's perfectly fine. That works for who that works for. But if that is not how you are able to operate right now in this season, I think that it's important for you to think about what it is that you want to, offer and why you want to offer. For me, the Get My Life tour is healing. It is something that people have shared is also transformative for them. So it is something that I'm continuously doing, right? I'm consistent with the Get My Life tour as well as with Love Lydia Wednesday. So that's when I put out content every Wednesday. It's more poetic and, it's something that I look forward to sharing, and it's very motivational and inspiring, right? But I've also been thinking about how can I lend my storytelling expertise to others, build community around that, and provide a service. And people are like, Lydia, you should actually be doing X, Y, and Z because you already have everything you need. And I too have, honestly struggled with, dang, what is it that I want to share? And I feel like people already got it. So do I really need to do this and X, Y, and Z, and beyond questioning what that could possibly be, I have more so just been like, do I really need to do this? And honestly, the answer is yes, and it is time. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about trusting my gut, coming home, and working towards my goal of being bicoastal, right? I think that this crisis is timely for a number of people in a number of ways, right? Because it is pushing us to do the very things that have been pressing on us for so long that we've been too intimidated to do. Or not even intimidated, too, busy to do, too fearful to do, too and important for us to focus on. It's really interesting what this time is pushing people into, right? And for some people, it's creativity. Others, it is stillness. And, whatever that looks like for you, that's what it is. But for those who are wondering, should I be creating more? Should I be pushing out, content more? Most likely, yes. But think about your why for doing that, because being authentic while you produce is extremely important. Beyond content creation and producing products and services that you want to offer to other people, I think that now is an opportune time to really spend the quality time that you need to spend with yourself by yourself. I know sheltering in place can be difficult for people who are with, their family members or friends, roommates, whatever the case may be, and you have an ample amount of time. But I think it's important that you don't distance yourself from your quiet place. I drove to, my quiet place not too long ago, and I sat there. I let the wind hit me. I had my face mask on. And I shared about this moment on Instagram. I also shared a clip of, my quiet place, to remind others, right? But to also, bless them with that scenery as they are in the house. But it is so important. I think, so many people are speaking about isolation in a negative way. And I have said before, like, nothing grows in isolation, but this is a really delicate time for a number of people around the world right now. But I think what makes it challenging is that so many people aren't used to spending time by themselves. And a lot of people don't know who they are, without being connected to others, right? I like to ask people, like, describe yourself in your own words, or, what are some of the things like that you like to do? Do you take yourself out on dates or X, Y, and Z? And, sometimes it's hard for people to answer that question because they really don't spend enough time. Maybe that looks like journaling for you. Maybe that means like getting in a car and driving somewhere and having a conversation with yourself, or being quiet, while you can't go, to the moon and back right now without, the possibility of contracting COVID-19. You can go for a walk by yourself. Turn your phone off. I think so many of us are so glued to our phones right now, or the computer, because there are so many Zoom conferences and free webinars and Instagram lives, Twitter live, Snap lives, whatever lives that are going on. But in your day to day, it is so important that you just have some time for yourself and unplug. I've spoken to mental health professionals and have asked a lot of people, like, how are you dealing with this time? But maybe it's time for you to just deal with you. Now what? Right? Now what may look like, I said, you journaling, you going for a walk, you unplugging, and really just getting to know yourself better. I think so many people are thinking about the opportunity to grow their communities and build their lists and X, Y, and Z, but you are more important than what it is that you are pursuing as a business person, as an entrepreneur. If you are not well, things will not get done. And, one of the things that I shared before, a number of people were sheltered in place, was that there's so much that you can contract beyond COVID-19 if you don't protect your heart, your vision, and your dreams. I think so many of us are worried about the gloves and the masks, but we're not thinking about how to best protect ourselves during this time. Self-preservation is so important. Maybe it's time that you practice self-preservation, right? The nail shops are closed, hair salons are closed, unless you have somebody come into your house, or you're fortunate enough to have a beauty supply store or a barber, or whatever. Somebody who does physical therapy, or you're related to a chiropractor. Those services aren't at your disposal right now. You are. And I think that self-preservation is so key. Right? So I think that it is time for self-preservation, the same way, in the same measures that we're taking to protect ourselves from COVID-19, should be the same ways that we're, preserving our mental health and wellness, making sure that we're not overeating while we're in the house. Okay. I am like on strike from the grocery store at this point, because I'm like, if I go to the grocery store one more time, when I'm in Harlem, I am not at the grocery store that much. I order my groceries. What I have is what I have. But I think we need to be mindful about that too. I saw this really interesting post, and it was like, either you're going to come out of this shelter in fine and slim, fine and like thick, and or like something in fat. And I was like, dang, that's a little intense. But I think we need to be thinking about that as well. Our mental health, right? But our physical health, as it relates to self-preservation. And of course, things like boundaries and being mindful of what we're putting into our bodies, right? This too shall pass, right? But if you come out on the other side and you're not well because you've made other decisions based on, this moment of uncertainty, I'm not sure how satisfied you will be with yourself, right? People, more prominently, Sarah Jakes Roberts, spoke about this being a time where we're really going to see what people are made of. And a lot of people have commented on self-discipline and producing and creating. But what I'd like to offer is that if you don't come out of this moment of stillness better knowing yourself, that is going to speak volumes. So I've already talked about self-preservation in creating, finding your why, right? And a little bit about health and wellness. I also want to talk about prioritizing our values. My goodness, okay? I was having a conversation with a close friend, and I was telling her, I was like, I think my priorities are good. Like, this, that, and blah, 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 blah. And what I realized is that I was like, not a top 5 on my list of priorities. They were things that I needed to do that I wanted to accomplish, right? So ultimately those things have something to do with me, but they weren't necessarily me, right? If that makes any sense. Some of the ways that I have been refocusing, resetting, and reprioritizing is by coming home. I knew that I would not be well if I was on the 6th floor of my apartment building in New York. Like, I had to prioritize myself in that way, right? Also, just being closer to family. I look forward to the day where I have a family of my own. Right now, I have the family that I've been blessed with, and being closer to them means a lot. I am, interdependent on my family, on community, of course, on the Most High. But there's just something to be said about being surrounded by love, right? I don't think enough of us truly value that level of connectedness because of some of our own experiences and traumas, and it being easier or more simple, rather yet, to be on our own. I love being in Harlem. I love being on the East Coast because I'm closer to my line sisters and friends from college and, people who I just think are dope and killing it in a number of industries. But right now, while people unfortunately are losing their lives, their jobs, and, a number of things in between, I think that it is important to, really put that family value back at the top. Not to say that I didn't. I talk to my mother and sister and family members every day. They probably get tired of me calling on FaceTime, and I call back to back. Okay, I'm calling like somebody's, girlfriend who ain't got it all. Like, hey, I know you saw this call. Okay, I'm just very persistent. Let's just say that. But just reprioritizing family, right? So self-love, wellness, family, and then also, I know everybody don't like talking about this all the time, but finances. I have had a shift in finances due to this crisis, and it was something that really widened in my eyes. I do pretty well with finances. I know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. I am not balling yet. And there was a shift that I experienced, and it shook me up. But then I also had this peace because I was home. I got home right on time, as I mentioned in, the episode before last on following my gut. But I think that it is important that we prioritize becoming better stewards of our resources, not only financially, yes, financially, but of our resources. I have been fortunate enough to be asked to be a guest on a number of podcasts and shows and panels. And one of the things that I have really been emphasizing is the need to have deeper connections with people. Right. But before I go into that, let me just finish my point. It is important to have healthy relationships with our financial lenders, and with our finances in general, sitting down and writing, a list of what it is that I, have to pay and, you know, oh, this, and that, has helped me to just be a little bit more calm because sometimes we run from the finances. So that's something that I've reprioritized, right? I'm like, okay, let me just sit down with this because it is not going anywhere, maybe for a few months, with the opportunity to defer things as, financial times have changed, the economy has changed. But I think it's important, to mention. Okay, the other thing that I have reprioritized, it's always been high on the list, right? But just the value of friendship and being connected. It is so important for us to have healthy and whole relationships with other people, okay? We have seen a shift in people collaborating more as they, connect on their level of expertise. But I also want to stress that it's important to have connections in real life to people. I have my tribe and I'm like on FaceTime with them now because they're here and there. But it is so important that you do not go throughout life by yourself. Okay. I think the thought of having stayed in my apartment longer than I did would have been really like, it would have been really challenging for me, right? But I would have been calling my friends and my family. But I say this to say that a lot of us are not as deeply connected to people in our networks as we think we are. How many contacts do you actually have for the people who you connect with on Instagram on a regular basis? Some people you probably don't want to have your phone number or you don't want to go get coffee with them because you're just not that interested in getting to know them that deeply. But there are some people who I think if a platform shut down, you would be like, ugh, if you didn't have contact information for them, and I'm not talking about building your list for your email subscription or your newsletter, but really connecting with people. I think that times are really showing how important it is for us to be connected. We need each other, right? But now is the time to be a better friend. Check on your friends. Everybody talks about checking on your strong friend, but just check on your friends. See how they are doing. Ask about their family. If they're entrepreneur, ask them about their business. I was, texting someone and we met offline in real life, but a lot of our interactions are on Instagram. But I was like, let me just see how he is doing. So I picked up the phone, shot him a text, and then we got on the phone the next day, because it's so important to make sure that you are really connecting with people, to hear someone's tone, in the way that they say something, helps you give a little bit more insight than if you're just texting or if you're DMing or sending whatever kind of messages back and forth, online. So connect with people in a real way. I think that prioritizing that and, placing a higher value on that, especially, during times like this, is really important. Really briefly, I want to touch on social distancing. Yes, it is important to stay home, wear your mask, sanitize, wash your hands. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this seems like the most commonsensical virus on earth, right? If we just do the things we need to do, maybe it'll flatten the curve. Who knows? I'm not a scientist, but I spoke to one. Check it out. What I will say is that I think there are some other ways that we need to practice social distancing, and that is by disconnecting from people who no longer serve us. Another one is stop giving time and energy to things, to people, to spaces that are not good for you. Okay. Keep your distance from that socially. I know sometimes it's hard, but I think it's important. I think it's also time for us to be like, yo, this is not working. And while I have the opportunity to separate myself from something, if there is an opportunity for us to go, right, and actually take more physical distance, then that is something that we need to do. As I think about this subject matter, about it being time, along with the question, now what, I think about my mic drop moment, which is you don't have anything to prove to anyone during this time. I think it's really important to emphasize that because a lot of people have gone into grind mode. And I would encourage you to focus on habit instead of hustle. What habits can you create during this time of being, home and being inside? I think some people think about, oh, what can I create? What can I produce? What can I sell? What can I do? What can I say? How can I? Okay, look, you don't have anything to prove to anyone. And it is important that you focus on habit and not hustle. I think if, so many people were to focus on habit opposed to hustle, they wouldn't be hustling now instead of building new habits. So that is what I have to offer you. Look, I am claiming the victory over this health crisis because I know that it has impacted people in more than one way. People are living in fear. So much of, what has gone out in the media has been sensationalized, and people are just looking for anything to lean on. My hope is that you lean on what is already inside of you, the Most High, and things that you find comfort in as we get through this time. This health crisis has caused a financial crisis. It's really just it's really shaking the table, okay? But I believe that we are going to get out on top, and we are going to continue to go on tour, and show up for ourselves in ways that we just have not done so before, So I really hope that you got something on this stop of the tour, okay? Let me know. Strike up a conversation with me on social. Be sure to follow the Get My Life Tour on social media, as well as myself, at Lydia T Blanco, at the Get My Life Tour. Connect. Let's continue, to journey, to show up for ourselves, and know that this too shall pass. It has been real. I look forward to seeing you on the next stop. Peace.